Hey everyone, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here, and today we're going to be reviewing what I consider, spoiler for the review, the best Star Wars show out. This really blew me away. We're going to be talking about Andor. Um, I cannot believe just how great this movie or show was. I honestly, going into it, had no interest. Was like, okay, it's cool because it's new Star Wars content. Got hyped up on things that were just complete rumors, and that's what got me excited. And honestly, I'm happy that the rumors didn't happen. Basically, the rumors was that like the Rebels crew was going to show up and stuff like that, and I'm really happy they didn't because it would have deterred from the story. And when we get into the plot, you'll see why. I have to say, though, the plot for this story only had one flaw in it for me, which we'll get in when we get to that point. And then the only other thing was the post-credit scene was very disappointing for me. Well, not disappointing, but predictable for me. And as you guys will find out Friday, I'm not a big fan of predictability. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the story. So it's only a minute and a half in, but please do not watch this if you haven't seen the show. We're going to get into some spoilers. I mean, there's, like, for the show, there's not really anything super duper impactful, but I mean, if you want to go in blind, go ahead. So, another thing before we get into spoilers, I do want to say this show is like fresh, and it is one of the best Star Wars shows because it honestly does not have a full-on Star Wars feel to it. What I mean by that is, like, we don't see a TIE fighter, I think, till episode 5 or 6, and no lightsabers in this, and basically, we just get Star Wars characters we know in like a Bourne Identity situation, or Jason Bourne situation, which is pretty cool. There's 2.5 or 2 to 3 major plot lines that are going on. I mean, we get multiple arcs in this, but overarching in the story, we get 2.5 plot lines. We get Cassian's plot line, kind of just him. The best way to describe it is him and also his people that he lives on the same planet with, friends and family, their day-to-day life, or just going through life. Then we have the other hand, which is the Imperial side. There's 4 lines. I forgot that about the Imperial side. There's the Imperial and Corsac storyline of the ISB trying to find Cassian, and like Corsac getting involved, which we'll talk about what Corsac is in a second, and the main guy, which is Surreal Karn, trying to follow him. We also get the story of Luthen basically trying to connect the separate rebellions into the Rebel Alliance. Any means necessary. We'll get to what I mean by that. And then we get Mon Mothma's... I'm trying to think of a funny way to say it. Story of how she will be getting a divorce. No, actually, it's really about her trying to fund the Rebel Alliance. The soon-to-be Rebel Alliance, but really it's honestly playing off like it's going to be a divorce situation. And the theme of this show, literally, is how far would you go to do what is right? And that, like, plays with all these characters, all these storylines. I mean, one character loses their job completely for doing what they believe in. Cassian goes through hell and back for kind of doing what he believes in. We get a amazing monologue from Luthen about doing what's right, or doing whatever it takes to do what's right. And one of the best lines is, "I'm fighting for a sunrise that I'll never get to see," which is such a good line. We also get, I'm getting chills with that, we get to see Mon Mothma basically whore out her daughter at the end of the show to raise funds for the rebellion. And then, like, just everything like that. It's insane. And also, it's insane to see the escalation that this show takes. So let's now get into it. There's about three to four arcs in this story. Like 3.5, really, I want to say. But there's, like, major stories with it. So the first arc, which, here's the only complaint I have about the actual show. So we get the setup that Cassian is looking for his sister. In doing so, he kills two Corsac, which is like a hired out third party security system that the Empire's been using. He accidentally kills one and then kills the other to kind of hide the witness. And the day after, Surreal Karn, who's like kind of the second in command, I want to say, of that department, is upset and trying to figure out what, like, investigate. And everybody, the first in command's like, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. It's two people, there's too much paperwork, and then the Empire's going to think we're incompetent and blah, blah, blah. So the first guy goes on vacation to where Surreal goes to Ferrix, which is Cassian's, not home planet, but planet that he's living on, and basically loses his entire battalion. During this, Cassian gets in contact with Luthen, and we never hear about the sister situation again. That's my complaint, is, like, they kind of built it up like it was a big thing and then never did anything about it. But yeah, so the first arc is basically that. It kind of sets up the whole season of, like, why Cassian's on the run, why the ISB gets involved, kind of, why that Luthen's looking for people for, like, certain odd jobs in the rebellion, and, like, stuff like that. So Surreal gets fired. Cassian leaves Ferrix with Luthen, and then nothing from the Empire yet, and we don't know who this benefactor is, which it ends up being Mon Mothma, who, in my opinion, one of my least favorite Star Wars characters, but she has the best scenes in the show. It's political drama, it's suspenseful, because, like, every conversation that she has, you feel like she's being monitored, and actually, in the last episode, they show that she is 100% right that she's being monitored, and she plays the guy that is, like, eavesdropping, because she's trying to cover up her, like, taking out her funds and everything, and in it, she's accusing her husband of gambling, and, like, why all the money's going away and everything, which I thought was the smartest thing ever, because her husband is honestly the dumbest person in the galaxy. So he's like, no, I didn't gamble. No, I don't gamble. What are you saying? Where is this coming from? Like, acting like the defensive husband that got caught, instead of, like, you have no basis to say that I'm gambling. Like, that sort of thing. He's literally like, oh, no, I didn't do that. No, I didn't. What are you saying? Sort of thing. But yeah, so the next 3 episodes, we go to where Cassian is helping a group of rebels kind of steal Imperial payroll, which also sets up why Mon needs money, because she wants to prove to Luthen that they could get money without violence. And basically what happens with that is a lot of people die during this. A lot of people on the team, a lot of Imperials, some civilians. We get introduced to the best character in the show, named, excuse me, this is Thanksgiving Day, so sorry, named Namek, who dies. He's the best character in the show, and he dies so heartbreakingly. He gets a concussion and dies, basically, is what happens. Well, concussion and partial paralysis. So, like, that's another thing with this show, is people don't, like, die Star Wars-wise. They die, like, I don't want to say naturally, because it's not natural causes when you get a concussion and get your legs crushed. But it's more realistic deaths than, like, blaster shot, lightsaber slash. It's like, the first guy that dies in the show, Cassian headbutts, and the guy breaks his neck, and among other things, and dies. Like, it's not like, oh, he did, like, some force choke thing that killed the guy or something like that. It literally, it's, like, more realistic. Which was what I loved about the show, was the realism. I mean, we get to spend time with Cyril Karn and his mom, who's, like, just basically destroying him emotionally. And, like, it's like, you never see that in Star Wars, and you're literally just watching this guy eat cereal while his mom's like, you're such a disappointment. You're such a disappointing son. Like, stuff like that. And it's like, it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that happens in a galaxy far, far away, too. That doesn't just happen at Earth. But yeah, so then, after the job is successful and botched at the same time, Cassian runs away. Goes back to Ferrix to tell his mom that he's, like, come across money to pay debts, and he wants to run away with her, but she wants to stay. So Cassian runs away and then gets arrested on BS charges. And this is where the third arc starts, where Cassian is stuck in prison. We get another amazing character with another heartbreaking scene, which is Andy Serkis's Kino. And no, Kino is not Snoke. It's not possible for that to happen. I mean, it could be possible, but it's not. But yeah, so Kino is, like, the leader of their group, and, like, he's fighting for everybody to stay good, or stay, like, in range, because he's got about 2/3 of a year left in this work prison. And then they find out that people are not getting freed from prison. They're going to different areas, or different planets, or stuff like that. And they find out because somebody accidentally gets sent to the same prison and starts ratting them out. So what happens is that finally changes Andy Serkis's mind. We get to the best episode in the series, One Way Out, which is the prison break. And it just, this show knows how to build tension up and up and up and up and up, and then pay off. And this whole episode was the epitome of that. We get them kind of making the plan, putting it into action, them taking over the thing, Andy Serkis doing an amazing monologue. We also get Luthen's amazing monologue in this episode, of, like, basically, we got One Way Out, like, cheering that and everything. They get to the edge, and it still hurts to this day because it's so heartbreaking. Is they find that they're in like surrounded by water, and Andy Serkis looks up and he goes, "I can't swim." And Cassian's like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "I can't swim." And then somebody pushes Cassian off, and that's the last we see of Kino. So either he had to stay and continue his labor, probably get executed, or drowned, which is so heartbreaking to think that this amazing character didn't get a happy ending. And then we go to kind of like what I call the final arc, or the half arc, which is Ferrix fully rebelling. So Cassian's mother dies of natural causes, and then during her, Cassian has to come back, or wants to come back for her funeral. but the Empire's there, hunting them down. Everybody involved in the show ends up going there for this situation. And Cassian's mom does a speech that causes a riot with the Imperials, and there's a huge rebellion, like, not rebellion, but like huge riot happening between the people of Ferrix versus the Imperials. In this, Cassian rescues his friend Binks, who, this is my first time mentioning her, but they were like an old hookup, and she helped him meet Luthen, and then she got tortured by the Empire. He ends up saving her. He brings her to their friends to escape. They escape, and he meets up with Luthen and basically tells him that he either has to kill him or recruit him. And that's how the show ends. So this show, like, literally, I want to sit there and actually rewatch it. I want to show my girlfriend it. I'm trying to convince my friends to watch it because they're so far behind in Star Wars. Just everything like that. Because this show deserves the 10 out of 10 that I'm giving it. Because it is amazing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that nerd Ryan telling you, have an amazing day.